A lot of the women I work with feel like they're doing well financially, but they don't feel secure. And that disconnect isn't about income, it's about something much deeper. I have a guest today who's an expert not only in finances, but the whole picture of why women often struggle with money. Stay tuned, we're going to dig in to the secret formula of femininity for women who want to live a more feminine, fun, and fabulous life. I'm Dr. Nicole Monteiro, your host on this weekly journey to unlocking your inner radiance, nurturing fulfilling relationships, and becoming the best version of yourself. Welcome back to the Secret Formula of Femininity. I'm Dr. Nicole, your host and guide on this journey to tapping into your feminine essence. And as you can see, I have a guest, and it's as you all know, I don't always do guests. So it has to be an extra special person. And I cannot wait for you to hear this conversation, hear these lessons and these gems that my guest is going to drop just about how to enhance not only your finances, but your whole relationship with money. So we have Coach D, Dianna Thornton. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So how do we? I know you as Diana. I say Coach D. Like how do you want us to refer to you?
Either or. I am not picky. If you refer to me as Diana, I'm answering. If you refer to me as Coach D, I'm answering.
Okay. All right. Great. So you are all about finances. I know your brand is enhancing your finances. Tell us how you got started dealing with money or finance. Like, I don't even know. Do you call yourself a money coach, a finance coach? And how did you get started in that?
Absolutely. So I refer to myself as a financial coach. In the beginning, I was a budget coach, but then I was doing so much more and talking about different things. I said I had to broaden that. But how I got started with my own finances. Of course, when we're younger, we know everything and I've got this under control, and then we really find out what's going on. So what happened to me, I began working as soon as I could because I wanted to do things I wanted. Our parents are, all right, you can do this, you can do that. I don't have money for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I started working right away. And then when I went to college, I experienced credit cards. So I understood money and how to handle everything and paying everything. Of course, you know, want to make sure you don't let your account go in the negative and things. But I wasn't aware of credit cards. So they were giving them to me and I applied for it. It's new to me. So, okay, all right, they gave it to me. Then another one came. Then another one came.
Fresh
And then,
credit, fresh, like
yes,
you were fresh meat.
yes, yes. So then what do? I have them and I'm using them. Now, that's not where the problem lies because, again, I know about money, I understand.
Mhm.
So I'm paying my bills every month, nothing's late. And then I I was going to school out of state in South Carolina. And then I returned back to Pennsylvania. So now I'm not living on campus. I have to get my own apartment. So now on top of the credit cards, I have bills, actual expenses that I'm having to cover. So now I have the expenses and my credit cards. And that's when things became real for me because I have to have enough money to do everything, live, eat. I'm an adult now.
Yes.
So, I'm realizing that I can't afford that. So, paying the minimum and I'm not getting anywhere. So that was the stress for me. I'm paying, and I feel like I'm in a zone of it's just sitting still. So that's how I realized, okay, I have to actually create a system to help myself get
Mhm.
out of this. So that's how I really got started. I created that system and I learned about how to pay it off, and I was actually successful in that. So then I began to, talk to other people like, okay, I did this, I did that.
Mm.
And then I found what I was doing was helping my friends and family. So that's what I did for many years. It was maybe 10, 15 years later before I actually created a business. So
Mm.
I've been doing it for a long time. I haven't been in business long, but I started from my own debt and from credit cards. And then when I got out of college, of course, adding on student loan debt. So that's what
Yeah. Oh,
I do.
yes, that's another one right there, yes. So, at the height, like, what was your highest level of credit card debt?
My highest credit card debt was 48,000.
Yeah.
48,000, and when I put that in with my student loans, I had over 100,000. So
Oh,
that was like
yeah.
Yes. Yep.
And would you say, it's easy for people like, the way you said that number out loud? Because I know even for myself, when I've
Yes.
struggled, it's like it was hard for me to say the number because 'cause you're just like, "Oh, I'm paying it on time." So, it's almost like
Yes,
you're blind
yes.
to it.
Yes, it's hard to say, and that's what I noticed with a lot of my clients and the ladies I work with. It's hard because it becomes embarrassing.
Mm,
It becomes you think that you're the only one that has this debt, or you're the only one that has a financial struggle. It might not be that, it might be something else, but what's happening with you, you're struggling in that you want help, you need help, but you don't wanna say it because you're embarrassed of saying, "I have 48,000, in debt."
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, the system, because first of all, I totally relate to the aspects of your story, and it could be like a generational thing, like, we were taught to be responsible, but then we go to college, and I remember that table where they're like, "Oh, why don't you sign up?" I think it was, City car I can't remember, but, "Oh, why don't you sign up for this?" You literally take 2 minutes and sign those papers, and
Yes.
I really remember I went to school in DC, and we used to go to Uno's Pizza, my friends and I,
Yes.
and I remember being like, "Oh, just give me the money and I'll do the credit," and of course, you'd spend that money.
Yes, I have a like story in college. We're going to the mall, a group of friends, and I had, of course, mall cards. So I had a store card at Old Navy. You guys want anything? Go grab some shirts, grab some pants, whatever you need, whatever you want. Go ahead, I've got it.
Yeah, that
I
is
will never
crazy.
forget it. I think back to it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was doing that. But I didn't know. Be
Yes.
nice. It's like, go ahead. It's all right. I've got it. I can afford it.
Yeah. Or even if they give it to you, you're not really putting 2 and 2 together, like, "Okay, let me
Yes.
literally put this money in so I can pay off this credit card."
Yes, and not putting it in and saving, the cash, and then we're paying interest on all that.
Yeah, yeah, that's the part. So we have to think, like, why are they so eager to give us young, naive people that interest? What is the range of interest on credit cards that most of us are paying if we don't pay it off?
Right now, I'm seeing cards that are having 29%
Oh my
interest rates. Back then in college, it
Yeah.
was, 10%, maybe 12%. Now things have changed drastically. So if you're not paying it off, you're
Mm.
paying double because you're paying interest or adding interest every single month.
Yeah,
It's
so
not
it's
a
just
it just keeps
compounding
piling
on.
up because what most people are doing is you have your debt, you're paying the minimum, and then you're still charging.
Yeah.
So,
Oh
it's
my
like a never
god.
never-ending cycle. So they're adding the interest, then
Yeah.
they're adding and then what people don't realize, not a lot of people realize, is when you first, incur the debt, let's say you're paying 15% of interest
Mhm.
and then they raise the interest rate in the middle. Okay, so when you continue to spend, now that money's going to the higher
The
interest rate as
new
far as payback. Yes, and then when you're trying to pay it off, that's only going to the higher, not the lower. It takes longer for you to get to it. So they're just making more money off of you.
Yeah, yeah. Those are the details we need to know. So let me first back up and let people know exactly who you are. So, Dianna Thornton, known as Coach D, is a financial coach dedicated to helping women create clarity and confidence with their money. After overcoming over $100,000 in debt, she now teaches others how to organize their finances, build systems that work, and feel more in control of their financial lives. She has helped over 250 individuals enhance their finances through her coaching programs and resources. With a background in accounting and continued education toward her bachelor's degree, she blends real-life experiences with practical financial guidance. I love that. Oh my gosh. So, tell us about the systems, like, because you even mentioned you created assist and that's often what we do, like, as coaches, it's we have a passion because we've lived it and we've come up with a solution. So I heard you say, like, you had a system for yourself and then you started helping others. What was the system?
It's actually something that now I refer to as a bill schedule. Of course, I didn't have a name for it back
Okay.
then,
Uh-huh.
but, what I do is I actually write out a 12-month plan of every payday and every bill that has to be paid on every payday. So I'm
Okay.
knowing in advance, I'm paying this bill on this bill on this date, and every
Mhm.
month it might not be the same pay. It might not always be the first check, might be the second check, or some months you might have a third pay. So what I did was I made sure that I wrote out, every bill I had, the due dates, my pay dates, and I worked it so that I didn't have those checks that had me paying 2,000 out of one check and
Uh,
700 out of another check, so I
uh-huh.
didn't have that struggle. I made sure I balanced it so I could still live and do things I wanted to do while I'm still making progress and working towards my goal.
Yeah, yeah. So, how did you recognize? Because you hear all the finance gurus saying, basically what you're saying, you need a system, you need to know what it is. How did you was it hard for you to just face reality and say, "I've just gotta look this bear in the face and come up with a way to tackle it?"
It was to a point where I had went through, I told you I returned home.
Uh-huh.
So returning home, I had my own apartment, and it was crazy because I couldn't believe that I'm working so hard. I'm still in school because I
Uh,
transferred back. I wasn't finished school, so I'm in school, I'm working, and I'm going to work so much. I had to get 3 part-time jobs because I had to kinda work my schedule with making sure school was my priority.
yeah.
So I didn't have any money. I'm killing myself. I'm only have enough to pay my bills and focus on school, and then I got a roommate who was helping and then stopped paying, so
Oh
after
gosh.
after that and I was like, "You know what? No, I have to figure this out. Let's get this together. I don't need to depend on anyone else. Handle my business," and that was the final straw, like, "Okay, figured let me sit down with a notepad and figure this out right now."
Yeah, yeah. No, that's brilliant. So, because my mind, I'm someone that wants to understand the root cause. And like you mentioned, a lot of us were taught, don't let your at that time, don't let your checking account go negative. And
Yes.
but what I feel like there's still a blockage or a mindset around money that so many women in particular have. What did you notice? Is this something you noticed in yourself or in the women you've worked with? Where it's almost like we don't want to know the numbers sometimes. We just wanna spend or pay a minimum. Like, what is that blockage around money?
I I feel like it comes from our upbringing.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's intentional. I think it's a matter of when we see our parents deal with their money, we're not seeing the whole picture. We could be seeing the good, not the bad. We
Okay.
could be seeing that they're paying the bills. We could be seeing that they might be avoiding bills. And sometimes some people will go and do the identical, and some people will say, "Oh, I'm not doing that," and do the opposite. So it
Uh-huh.
varies for different people, but we'll always run into something because sometimes we don't know the full thing that's happening, so we can't learn if we don't know everything.
Yeah, yeah. So we might not have that's a good point. So if we've seen them paying the bills, maybe we didn't see how they had to organize themselves.
Yes.
Or if we saw them not paying the bills, maybe we didn't see the full consequences, like, we didn't see their credit scores or
Yes.
what happened
Yeah.
to. Yeah, yeah. Did, are there emotions that women have around money that is about, like, making them feel good, but in the long run, it's detrimental? Like, because we like to
Yeah.
shop, right?
Yes. Yes, so then some people will live and spend out
Mhm,
of their emotion and just like, "I'm gonna go on this vacation for 7 days because I want to. It makes me feel good. I'm
mhm.
happy. I'm happy to get away." But when you return, you realize that financially I couldn't afford that. I still
Yeah.
have all my bills. I didn't pay the bills before I left, and now I've spent all this money on the trip. I've overspent because then I went there and I went on excursions and all
Yes.
and
You
because
thought
we're
the
living the life. We're having the good time.
Yes, oh my
So then
god, that
yeah.
is so true. Because the cruise was 5,000, but then
Yes.
the unlimited food and the excursions and the shopping. Yes.
Yes. It
That is
adds up, and with our emotions, it's like, "Oh, I'm going. I work hard, I'm going, and I'll think about it when I get back."
yeah, yeah. You said something so key, because you mentioned yourself when you came back to Pennsylvania, you were
Yeah.
working 3 jobs. Like, so many of us work hard. It's not as if we're lazy and broke. It's
Yeah.
like we are working hard and broke,
Yeah.
which
Yes.
makes it even more baffling. So that thing of, like, working hard, we equate do you feel like we equate work with money? Because what I've learned is there's some people who are smart with money. They're not working
Yes.
harder for money, they're smarter with money.
Yes, yes, and that comes from we're working hard. Sometimes we think more money is going to solve all our problems,
Mm.
which makes us work harder and harder and harder, and, of course, more money is good, of course, because 'cause you're able to do more,
Yeah,
but most times when we make more, we spend more. So we're
yeah,
keeping ourselves in that same cycle, we're not getting out of it, so if we were stressed with 3,000 a month, we're still stressed with 5,000 because now I'm spending more. I went and got a new car. Now my payments double or, different things will change things. So more money doesn't always mean I'm doing better.
yeah, yeah. Well, that is something that people need to understand because I think that is the idea, like, when people talk, "All right, I wanna move up the ladder, I wanna make this much in my business or this much in my career." They don't think about, what is it? Is it called lifestyle creep where you
Yes.
just
Yes.
having more you're still having the same low amount at the end of the month?
Yes, because
Mm,
they what they usually do is as soon as they make more money, they spend more. They don't create that plan, they don't have that structure to see, "Okay, I'm making 2,000 more a month, what am I gonna do differently with that extra 2,000?"
yeah.
Nope, we just go straight into I'm gonna get a new car, I'm
Mm.
gonna, buy some things and of course, I'm not saying don't buy these things because that's what I teach all my clients, definitely to enhance your finances while still enjoying life in the process, but we just have to have that structure.
Okay, because you said something and, like, you teach your clients not to, just deprive themselves. I'm wondering, like, if that's part of it. Because I notice even with, eating, like, sometimes if we, like, binge and then we're like, "Oh my god, I can't eat for 2 weeks," and it's this back
Yeah.
and forth, and I'm wondering if you see that with the spending where it's like, maybe, you've worked so hard or you've done the right things, and finally
Yeah.
you're ready to just splurge to feel good
Yeah.
about it.
Yes, a lot of people do that, and
Mhm.
it's unfortunate that you do that because you're on the great track, you're working towards your goals, and that ultimately, that short period of time you're feeling good is now set you back months,
Yeah.
because now that money you were supposed to do something with, you enjoyed yourself for that time, but now you've set yourself back from your goals, which has you at a I don't wanna say restriction, but
Mm.
keeps you at a certain point for longer when you could have
Yeah.
gotten out of this quicker.
Yeah, yeah. What are some things that you wish you had known about money, like, when you went as you transitioned into adulthood? Like, it sounds like you had some good foundations,
Yes,
responsibility, and so forth, but what didn't you know that you would, like, want an 18-year-old to know about money?
absolutely. I would say when getting credit cards, because credit cards are not bad, but
Uh-huh.
when getting credit cards, understand them, understand the benefits of them. If you're getting a credit card, know if this card has rewards, if this card has maybe miles or, things cash back if you spend here or spend there. Use it to your benefit.
Uh-huh.
Make sure it's something that you can pay back, you know, pay it back so that you're not defeating the purpose. So a lot of cards will offer you rewards and say, we'll give you 5% back, cash back towards miles or cash back if you use credit cards or different things, whatever it might be. But it doesn't benefit you if you're going to use the card and get the rewards and not pay the
Mm,
debt back that you
yeah,
incurred because now you have 5% of rewards, but 25% in interest you're paying
go
them back.
yeah.
So we don't see that and we're spending to reach this reward, but then we're owing back. So we could have used our own money for the reward and
Yeah.
save on that interest.
That is such a good point because I'm always getting these deals, like, especially with American Express, and they're like, "Well, why don't you add the blue card or the gold card? And if you spend this much, you'll get this many points." And it sounds amazing. But like you said, if you're getting 5% points that amount to like 5% of what you spent, but then you're spending 30% on interest or
Yes,
whatever,
yes, and
20%.
that's where they make their money, is people don't realize that, and then what you just said, an example, spend $1,000 in 90 days and get this. Well, what if you can't afford to pay $1,000 back? So
Uh-huh.
now they've locked you in. They're gonna be getting the interest from you for months if you
Yeah.
can only afford to pay the minimum, which is like $30, $40. So they're gonna stretch that out for years, and then if you accidentally, you know, use the card again, they've really got you locked in, and you just have this little bit of rewards, which is only beneficial to you, you know, if you spend more money.
Yeah, yeah, and then you're like, "Wow, what did this reward even get me?" Like,
Yes,
1,000
yes,
points, what did I even apply that to?
yes. That's why it's good to be strategic with the rewards. Get the
Yeah,
cards that, work with your life. If you travel, get the ones with the miles. That way you're able to see when I'm, using my rewards, I got money off my flight or I have got money off my hotel, and you're
mhm,
actually saving and receiving the benefits.
yeah, yeah. But so it sounds like it requires a lot of discipline, like, because credit card is like you're a kid in a candy shop. There's all this candy in front of you and you wanna eat everything. So and I'm
Yes.
asking myself, like, can an 18-year-old have that restraint or whatever age where you could get these credit cards? It requires
Yes.
so much discipline.
It does, and that's where the hard part comes in because if you don't know, like myself, and you just
Mhm.
go to school and just get them, but teaching your children about it before they get them. It's
Yeah.
talking to them, giving your kids an allowance and helping them to pay for things they might want as far as, maybe go to the store and let them pick out their own toy with their allowance so they can
Mhm.
kinda see the value of money earlier and start to understand, maybe you have them do a chore to get the allowance. And now they're saying, "Okay, so I worked for my money. Now I'm gonna spend this on this toy. Is it really worth it?" And they
Yeah.
kinda learn from it. So, teach them early instead of letting them find out when they get older.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's such a good point. It made me think about because we're in such a digital world, I started I'm kind of cashless myself, but with my kids, I started going to the bank and getting out cash because
Yeah.
sometimes I would send them in the store, here's my credit card. Get and I'm like, they have no clue. They just think I'm
Mhm.
swiping. I'm like,
Yes, yes, and that's another thing, and that's what we fall into too, because then we think just like as a child, thinking about
mhm.
myself, younger, my mother giving me her card, I'm like, "Oh, she has $1,000,000, like, I can just always use her card." We
Yeah,
don't realize that there's a limit on there and, so
yeah,
that is so true. It is important to use the cash so they can actually see, once you spend
yeah.
this, that's it.
Like, we need to go old school piggy bank,
Yes.
so they can really understand.
Absolutely. You know what? It's funny you said that, and of course, I didn't plan on showing this, but I just
Mm.
bought a little folder. I didn't even open it yet. It's like I'm sorry, I hope this thing is fall
That's
off.
her. That looks
But,
so good.
that is so funny you said that. Where I'm gonna start 100 envelope. I just bought this
What does it say? It
so I
says
can save
100 envelope money save.
savings challenge.
Oh my gosh.
So what I'm gonna be doing is inside there's envelopes, and I literally haven't even opened it. And I'll put money in each envelope, and I'm gonna be using cash so I can see myself save. So
Yeah,
that's what we're talking about. I need to see it. I'm gonna be saving it, and I'm gonna be saving this for my son so I can build him up some money, and then
yeah.
once it's finished, then I'll start his bank account.
I love that. I have to get that from you because, where you got that because I want them it's like just seeing something tangible because even they know they have savings accounts and
Mhm.
stuff, but you need to see this actual money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I will definitely get you the information.
Yeah, that is good. So, okay, is budgeting like what are your thoughts on budget? Does every woman need to literally sit down and write out a budget or what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I am pro budget. I think everyone should have a budget. A budget is not just for someone who has a lower income, a budget is for someone who has higher income as well. Everyone should have one because depending on what you're doing, you always need to have that awareness of I have this much coming in, this much going out,
Mhm.
this much left, or maybe I don't have enough. So regardless of your income, you really need to know so that you can plan accordingly. If I don't have enough money, I'm gonna have to figure that out before I actually need it
Mm.
or my
Yeah.
bills will do. If I have extra, I need to know that so I'm not just, winging it and wasting it. I could say, okay, this might go towards my vacation fund. This might go towards a college fund. This might go towards my new home or, you know, being able to decide what your money is doing and not reacting to,
Mm.
I've spent all this money. What am I gonna do now? So I am 100% pro budget. Yes.
Okay. So are you like spreadsheet, pen and paper, apps? I'm a big app girly, as they say, but
Yeah.
like which ones do you think are help people understand their money the best?
I think either a spreadsheet or writing it down. So
Okay.
I actually use both depending on where my client is because
Mhm.
some people like spreadsheets, some people like to write it down and actually see it. So that in the ultimate, we're both doing the same thing, but some are doing it on the computer, where some are doing it in their notebook or planner, because we have to see it and take time to really look at it and write it out and really understand what's happening. Because when we
Okay.
don't look at it, we're finding out afterwards, which is gonna be worse, and then some people know things are happening, and they don't look at it, which gives them more stress, and it's like, "Oh my gosh."
Yeah.
And so don't put that pressure on yourself, just go ahead, rip the Band-Aid off, and look at it all the
Okay.
time. Check it
Yeah.
out. Make a schedule.
It makes me think how, like, even some, people say, like, it's better to handwrite if you're in class, handwrite notes versus doing a recording and listening to it. There's something about writing it out that
Yes.
just, like, solidifies it in your brain.
Yes. Yes, because it's you're processing it.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
processing it. Absolutely, and that's the important part because just, like you said, the recording, that's good, you're saying it, then what if you don't listen to it back? Or what if you
yeah,
listen to it back and you're listening to it and you're doing something else, so now you're not giving it
uh-huh.
your full attention, so you're never actually fully processing it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. You said something about, like, having to rip the Band-Aid off, and, like, kind of what we're alluding to is, like, some of the words that come to mind when I see people struggling with money is, like, and just even from personal experience, shame. Like you said, if you don't want anybody to know how much debt you have,
Yes,
or feeling, like, so much emotion is tied to it, like, you feel good when you're buying stuff, and then you don't feel good when you can't afford it, or,
yes,
there's all these
yes,
emotions with it. What are things that women need to do to tackle those emotions? Because I have had to really pause, and I'm not really there now, but I was there where it's like, you will get such a rush from buying something.
mhm,
And then it's like you could see it going down a road of like, okay, you buy something bigger and bigger to get more and more of a rush. And I
yes,
just see or on the other hand, this is something that I had to work through, which is look at that I remember I was listening to somebody that said, open your account every day and look at it.
yes,
Stop not wanting to look at your account and what's going on with the money. And lo and behold, there were a few times where I saw charges that were like fraudulent or something you signed up for and it was recurring and like so by not looking at it, you deprive yourself of knowing, but it's like so hard for us, right?
it
What are all
is.
those how do you help people deal with the emotional part?
Well, for the emotional part, we have to get started. So
Mhm.
you have to bring some good to kind of push the bad away, kind of like a credit card. You're getting all F's. Okay, now we get some A's to bring that
Okay.
up.
Yeah.
So, we start every client that I work with, we start with exactly that. Looking at bank statements, looking at transactions, not only on the bank, but on your credit cards.
Mm.
We're checking not only for what we're spending, but for exactly what you said, stuff that maybe weren't you, something that was charged that you didn't, sign up for, or
Yeah.
something that you thought was one time that was two time. Because sometimes we can get money back, that's a plus, you know? Checking our receipts, not only checking our bank accounts, I have them checking receipts. When you go to the store, sometimes they scan
Oh,
things twice. You're not
yes.
paying attention to that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you lose money there, or maybe that coupon you had didn't come off.
Uh-huh.
That's another thing. When we make sure we talk about coupons, we're not above coupons.
Yeah.
I'm gonna save this money, and I can use that money somewhere else,
Mhm.
maybe to go for on that excursion I wanted to go on, you know? So, we're looking at things. We start by actually seeing and
Yeah.
understanding, and then we create our plan.
That reminds me so much of, the therapist in me. Like, you can't what did Jay-Z even said it, like, you can't heal what you don't reveal. Like, if you don't wanna
Yes.
look at something, then you don't even know what the issue is. So,
Yes.
looking
You don't
at
know where to start.
yeah.
What do I do? So if I'm not looking at my bank account, I don't know that I'm overspending. I don't know that I'm spending, 600 a month in overdraft fees. I don't
Mm,
know that, I'm, just setting yourself back ultimately, not because you're not knowing. Once you become aware, you can save money. Not saying you're not doing things you want to do, but you understand what you're doing. Maybe I can't do something every week. Maybe I can do it every 2 weeks and
yeah,
still have that joy in it?
yeah, yeah. Okay, so the key is you have to have a budget, and you prefer something where you're actually not those apps where it just says, "Oh, let me have access to your accounts and I'll compute
Yeah.
everything." Okay, so write it out. Get started. You said something about those easy A's or those wins. So what
Yeah.
does that look like? Because you hear people saying, pay down the smallest one so you can have a complete, have that off your record. What are your thoughts on those approaches?
Yes. I like that idea.
Mhm.
So when paying off the debt, I definitely love the idea of paying the smallest one first, because then you're able to have that, right away. I'm seeing progress. I'm seeing
Yeah.
progress. And your first one might not be $500. It might be $2,000. So it might take you time to get there, but your progress could be knowing the numbers, setting the goal. I have 2,000 to pay off. My first goal might be to pay 500. And then I'm excited. I did it. I
Okay.
didn't think I could do it. I've been
Yeah.
trying to pay this off for 6 years, but I finally made progress? We also write down our debt. I have them write down all the debt, and then we're tracking how much of it, how often we're
Goes
paying it
down.
off.
Okay.
Yeah. So, we're tracking everything.
Yeah, yeah. So with your system that you when you first started and you had all that debt, you mapped out the 12 months of your checks and what you were gonna pay for each.
Yes.
How long did that
Yes.
take you? Like, that really takes discipline, right, to write all that
It
like
takes it takes discipline, but you know what? I understand it. It's easier for me. I've come to know, when I'm working on the next year, because I didn't pay off in 1 year. It
yeah.
takes a couple of years. It takes time. And that's another thing too. We think it's gonna be fast, and that
Mhm.
can make us quit and fall off the wagon, like, "I've been doing this so long, and I'm just tired
Let me
of
go
this."
spend it up.
Forget it.
Let me
Yes.
go on a cruise and some excursion.
Yes, 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 yes. So, it takes time,
Yeah.
but, you're just think about your future, the rewards, the benefits of this time sitting down to get this structure together. It's worth it when I think of the
Mhm.
long run. When I retire, I won't be the person that has to continue working, the person, and no disrespect to anyone, but, being the
Yeah.
person that might have to be, you know, checking your receipts at Walmart at 70. You don't
Mm,
have to do that because you're planning now earlier, younger age. Let me get myself together, set up. So if I am, the person doing the receipts, maybe it's because I want to, because I wanted to get out the house, not because I have to.
yeah, yeah, like, it's something to do, but not something
Yes.
that your life depends on. Yeah.
Yes.
I remember I learned from my grandfather. He was so he grew up really, really poor. And
Mhm.
when he got money, I mean, he was such a good steward of his money. And he told me a story, and I don't know if it's true or not, but he was looking at his accounts and it was 2 pennies off. It was like supposed to be something and it was 2 cents less. And he said he went in there, he asked for the manager. This is way back. He was born in 1914, so this is a long time ago. But
Mm,
he
yeah.
walked into asked his manager, and he said that gave them the understanding that this is somebody who is knowledgeable and mindful of their money.
Yes. I
So,
like that. Don't
yeah,
play with
he's
me because people they do try things, so you have to be careful
Mhm.
and that's another reason why it's important to look. Your grandfather was looking. He's seen that. That 2 cents could have turned into $2, could have turned into 200. And
Yeah.
that's things that happen with people who are so busy they're not checking. So this could have happened 2 years ago. If you didn't check, you don't know. You're just
Mhm.
living off of what you see when you pop your phone open and see what you have now. You don't know what was happening. So that's
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that.
No, he was not playing, and I learned so much just managing his estate and his accounts and moving money and how you get treated when they bring you to a special room when it's like you wanna move
Yes.
these CDs or you wanna invest this and that. And then there is a lot of, freedom that comes from whatever amount you have, just knowing what about your money.
Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that's the important part of and again, going back to the budget, people think it's so restrictive. It's all about how you create it.
Mhm, mm.
It's not necessarily restrictive. It's discipline and, working towards a lifestyle that you're trying to achieve.
Yeah,
So having that, more money in a couple years after you finish paying off that debt and reaching your savings to the goal you set for it, you have more money to do everything you might want to do. And you're able to actually enjoy more of it because you're not enjoying and like I always tell my clients, it's not that we're trying to enjoy nothing. We're doing nothing. No, no, no. Go get your nails done. Go get your
yeah.
hair done. Plan for that vacation. You might can't go every month, but let's plan it so we can go at least quarterly. Figure it out.
So do you have a formula? Like, what do you recommend? That's such a good point. Like, you don't want people to feel deprived because then you
Yes.
don't it's like you're
You
doing a
won't do it.
restrictive diet. Yeah. Is there a
Absolutely. And
certain
then you wouldn't do it.
percentage?
Actually,
Or
it's not. Everyone's
okay.
situation is
Okay.
different because it depends on where you are with your savings, where you are with your debt, what's actually happening with your credit. Because ultimately, in the background, we're paying attention to credit also, but that's
Mhm.
that's not my focus. But we do see it and use it to see what we're doing, you know. But you have to create that plan. You have to have it. So that's our focus
Yeah.
to see what's going on with each person. What are we doing with you? What are we doing with you? This person might need help with savings. This person might need help with that.
Yeah, yeah. So a very individualized. I love that because I know people might if when you take like this just widespread general advice, that might
Yes.
not fit your specific lifestyle or your goals or where your starting point.
And that's exactly it. I actually just did a live on that. Whereas everyone's thinking of, I'm trying to get to the same goal. No, because what works for this person might not work for you because you're in different places. So
Mhm.
that's why we have to look at our own. We're hearing everything, we're learning everything, but now we have to get started. We
Yeah,
have to get
yeah,
started.
yeah, yeah. So, what I know you had just because I know from us talking, you had, a significant life event that, potentially impacted your finances. So, you
Yes.
had a fire.
Yes.
How did that like, what how were you prepared for that as much as you can be?
Yes.
And what
Yes.
did that how did that intertwine with your finances?
Absolutely, that's a really good one. So I had a house fire for, those who are listening. My neighbor's house caught fire and then it traveled to my home and we ultimately lost our home. We've been out of our home for next week will be a year
Ugh.
of being out of our home.
Mhm.
So the hardest part is what you just said, finances. Okay. So when you're not expecting the fire, I mean, nobody's expecting a fire,
Yeah.
but when it happened, we're just running out the house. I don't have my purse. I don't have any cards. I don't have my car keys. I'm just watching the house. It's first of all, just
It's
the
emotional.
feeling of it.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, then afterwards, once where are we going to stay? How are we gonna pay for, this hotel? And thank God for Red Cross, they were out there, they covered our first, 2 nights in a hotel, which helped us to kinda get ourselves together.
Mhm.
Now we can go to the bank and get money out because it happened at, like, 9 p.m., so
Banks don't
everything's
have
closed.
cards,
So
yeah.
yeah, so the first thing was figuring out what we're gonna do immediately. Um, the second thing that I thought of was, now what are we gonna do long term? So
Mhm.
luckily, insurance. We had homeowners insurance, which stepped in, but it didn't step in quickly as quickly as we
Okay.
expect.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so then, the blessing was I had savings, you know, family members had savings. So we were able to cover things until insurance, kicked in. So for
Mhm,
me, I think for others who might experience a life-changing event, might not necessarily be a fire, but to have savings.
mhm,
Build that emergency fund. We talk about emergency fund a lot. We don't take it serious because it couldn't happen to us, not us,
mhm.
but
Yeah.
it could happen to you. So my number one thing I would say, build an emergency fund. Be prepared for the unexpected event. I think that's the first savings account that should be set up.
Is this
Setting up that
the
is
emergency?
emergency,
Uh-huh.
emergency that saved us. Planning ahead myself, which was big for me. I'm a planner, like you see with my
Yeah.
12-month, bill schedule. I'm a planner. I even plan out my hairstyles. This month I'm getting this,
Oh,
this month I'm getting
okay.
that.
And that probably
So,
helps financially because you know how
it
much each
does.
one costs.
That's right. I plan that, so, but anyway, planning ahead helped me, so I had events coming up. I had already paid for the hotel room. I had already paid for the travel. I already paid for the rental car. So, planning ahead saved me for immediate things that were coming up. Of course, you don't expect to be out of your home for so long. So
Yeah.
it got hard, it got tough, but it could have been worse.
Mm.
So, having that emergency fund and planning ahead, what helped me and would help others is you planned ahead so when something happens, you don't feel the crunch immediately,
Yeah,
if that
yeah.
makes sense. So, it wasn't for a couple months before it felt like, "Wow, okay. Alright, what we're gonna do now?"
Mhm, mhm.
So
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
plan ahead and think about things that are coming up with your finances. Don't last minute it. We're going away in it's April now. We're going away in July, so I'll wait until about June to pay for that hotel. Nope.
Okay.
Pay for it now, pay for it
Yeah,
now. And that's what happened. The fire was in April. May was my first Mother's Day. And I was so excited about it. I had already paid
yeah,
for a concert I wanted to go to. I had paid for the hotel. So I was able to still have that joy to go and just
yeah.
have that
That's
fun.
so beautiful. Oh my god. Because first of all, I remember just hearing and even seeing some of the videos, I'm like, "Oh my gosh," and knowing that you're at the time, your son so he was like how
9 months.
he
He
was
was
9
9
months
months.
at the time.
Yes. I was
And
actually when the fire started, I was holding him on the sofa in the living room. We were actually gonna go upstairs to go to bed. I'm so glad we didn't because the
oh no.
fire it was
Oh
so fast.
my
It
god.
took like a minute before it engulfed our whole porch.
Yeah.
So, we didn't have a lot of time. We did not have a lot of
Yeah,
time.
yeah. That is such a blessing, first of all, that, it happened that way and you got out safely. But
Yes.
just hearing those details about, first of all, it's not just the insurance. We always hear you
Yes.
need insurance, but it's the savings because hearing your story, it's not just going to kick in. Like the next
It
day
does.
you're rolling in cash.
Exactly, yes, because you know what happened? The fire was a Friday night. And then we didn't get insurance. We spoke to them on Monday, and then they had to get the check to you, right? And
Mhm.
then we had to wait 21 days for the check to clear. So you have a lot of time that
Yeah.
you had to figure things out, and I mean, your bank might not be 21 days, so if your
Yeah,
financial
but it's not
institution,
immediate
but
for
it
most banks.
yeah,
Mhm.
you have to wait. You have to wait for it to clear. They have to
Yeah.
wonder, "Is this a real check?" You
Mhm.
don't put checks in this large, so let's see, we gotta investigate.
Yeah.
So, and then this money is supposed to, last, so now you have to budget that money. It's not
Mhm.
just, "Oh, I have the money, let's go," No, now I'm still budgeting that money
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I have to pay for the rental home and still pay the expenses on my real home. So, you
And
know
did you have to find how did you find the rental home? Because that's also mental expenditure, like
Yes.
looking for a place
Yes.
to live
Yes.
temporarily.
Now, for that part, the insurance was a wonderful help with that.
Okay.
They had actually had a company they worked with that provided us what they asked, "Okay, so are you looking for an apartment? Are you looking for a home? How many rooms do you need? What area would you prefer to
Yeah.
be in?" And then they actually provided us a couple to go look at. So That wasn't, stress for us. Thank God. Now in the beginning, we did spend about 6 weeks in a hotel. That was hard.
Okay.
That was hard. So the whole time trying to find out where we
The
were going to be at
baby,
the
yeah.
rental,
And he's
that was
walking, he's
rough.
starting to walk, right?
Yes, yes, and it's like, in hotels, all these people coming and going,
Yeah,
hotels where people are having a good time on the weekends are laughing, screaming, running up and down the hall, so it was, going through that was a little challenging, but we were safe.
yeah. But the other part of thank God you were safe, and the other part of what I heard you say is, like, just the planner in you,
Yes,
it benefited, so you didn't have to miss out on Mother's Day because you
yes,
had already had it planned. I just
yes.
love that for you, like, it's
Thank
such an
you.
important milestone, your first Mother's Day, and the fact that you could still enjoy it, that's one of my key takeaways from this is like plan your
Yes.
joy, plan things that are important for you so that when the unexpected happens, when life does its thing, you
Yes.
can still have those things in place.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that. And you have such a I mean, if I didn't know, I wouldn't have known about that. Like you have such a positive attitude. Do you think that plays a part like in what we need in terms of money? Because I know money, it can when you hear money, like it's or
Yes.
budgeting or it's not like people are jumping for now people like my husband who's he's sitting there writing out stuff. I'm like, he's so into now. He's in your field, accounting.
Oh, nice, nice, nice.
But for the average person, and especially how the average woman was socialized, it's not something
Yes.
you're jumping for joy with. But like I see your demeanor and your attitude. Is that something you try to impart to your clients, like a certain mindset or belief system or attitude about money?
I do, because a lot of times you'll hear people who will say budgets are bad. Budgeting is, it's
Mm.
not a good thing. And then in the next line, you'll hear them saying you need a financial plan. What? So a budget
Of
is a
marketing, they're
financial
trying to
plan.
market them. Yes.
Yes. So they turn people and what I noticed, they'll turn people against budgets, which are beneficial to everyone. And the person
Mhm.
who's talking, I would bet any amount of money has a budget.
Yeah.
So, just to, reprogram, yourself to know that budgeting is not bad. And don't be alarmed by the word budget. Don't let that word budget affect you and like, oh no, I don't want a budget. Only
Yeah.
broke people have budgets. People you hear different things. No. And if you don't like the word budget, then you a
Use
financial
it
plan.
okay.
They are the same thing. You need a
Yes.
financial plan because this plan is what's gonna set you up for comfort, in your life, in retirement, for all your life decisions, school, your children, home, wedding. You need the financial plan. So we start with understanding that it's not bad to
Yes.
have a financial plan. It's not bad to want to work on your money. It's not bad to not be where you want to be. Many people are not where they want to be, but if we don't start, we will remain in the same spot, and that's what we don't want.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. It's if it to me, all the core things so, it's like what? Health, money, and relationships. Those are core things in
Yes,
our lives. And
yes,
it's all like the same thing. You have to face it. You can't say
yes,
you wanna be healthy, but you never wanna, like, look at what you eat or how you move
yes,
your body or
yes,
so I hear the mindset shift that you're talking about with helping people to almost get excited and see, like, money budgeting is your friend. Of course, money is our friend. We all want money, but
yes,
we don't
yes,
wanna do the stuff that we need to take care of our money. But I love that mindset part that you described.
absolutely. And
Yeah.
you know what I love to have my clients do? Set financial goals.
Mhm.
So and not set them so that I wanna pay off 40,000 in debt. Not that kind of goal.
Yeah, because,
That could
like,
be a
they feel
long-term goal.
defeated. Yeah.
Yes, let's have a
Mhm.
short-term goal, something that
Mhm.
I can, see myself getting to. I can actually reach it to set my next goal. Because sometimes we'll set goals that are so drastic, not saying there's something you can't achieve, but it will take you so long that you kind of lose your motivation before
Yeah,
you get
yeah,
there.
yeah, definitely. So, Coach D, Are there what how can people we're gonna put the links to your, all your stuff, but, like, is there where would they start if they wanted to know more about working with you? Is there, like, a book, a class, something? How would they get
Mm.
what you do?
Well, I offer a free 5-minute financial health check.
Mhm.
I love that everyone starts there because that's gonna bring you the clarity, you're seeing what's going on. It's a 3-page download. The first page, I have lines of literally numbers you have to write down for your finances. I
Okay.
tell you which number to write down. Page 2, I have equations that you would use with the numbers from page 1, and then page 3 tells you, okay, so this is, where you're at. This maybe you're doing good. Maybe this you need to work on, or maybe this you should be focusing on this instead. So just having the clarity of where to start and where you're actually at. So I
Yeah.
would, definitely recommend if you go to my website, enhancingyourfinances.com, and right at the top, click that, download it, and get started. Don't just
Mhm.
download it, actually do it.
Yes, that's the key part, yeah. How many of us have downloads, everywhere on our
Yes,
in our
yes. Oh,
computers?
I'm
Yeah.
downloading, and then forgot all about it. Nope.
Mhm.
Do it right away. Print it out, get started.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Get started. Yes. That has been the theme that I've just seen across the board with so many things. Like the biggest goal, the biggest billionaire or whatever, the biggest thing that you see somebody have, they just started somewhere and they
Yes,
just
yeah,
got started. Yes.
yeah, and we
That
delay ourselves by not getting started.
Mhm.
Get started because you'll remain in the same spot. If you get started, you could have been here, but you're still
Yeah.
here because you didn't start.
Imagine if you had never started, you would still it would be 200,000 in debt
Yes,
by
yes, yes. That's so true.
Yes. So, I wanna close out, like, if a woman is listening and she agrees mentally, she's like, "Yes, yes, yes," but she still feels overwhelmed and disconnected from her finances, from, maybe she has her own money trauma. So she needs to get started. What is the first thing? What would you tell her to get started with what, or what should she do?
My first start for everyone, get a piece of paper, open up your bank account. Write down what you're doing. I'm spending this much on bills or expenses for my home. I'm spending this much on the joy, the fun, the things I like to do. I'm spending this much on fees because we can't forget the fees that we're paying. We need to see what we're doing that's, could be setting us back so
Yeah.
that we understand, the correction, what we can save. So just start with looking at your bank account. We don't always like to do that, but that is the first thing we need to do so we know our starting point. And not only our starting point, when we, start to do better, we can actually see the progress. We
Yeah.
can see, okay, so I had $900 in fees last year. This year, maybe I only had 100. I
Mhm.
didn't, get to 0, but I had progress. I
Yeah.
can see what I've done.
So it's as simple, you don't need anything fancy, you need literally a pen or pencil and piece of paper, access to wherever your money is, and just
Yeah.
start facing it and looking at it.
Yes. Look at
Yes,
it.
yes,
Look at
yes.
it.
Well, thank you so much, Diana. I think this gave so many of us and even myself just a clear understanding of what some of the barriers are, but not just we don't just want to talk about problems, like what are the solutions? And a lot of times the solutions are much simpler than what we think.
Yes. Yes, they are.
Yes. Well, I wish you and, your family success. I know you're about to kind of go back home soon, so that should be great. And make sure you go to enhancingyourfinances.com. We'll put the link in the show notes. You download the 5-minute checklist and don't just download it, but you actually do it.
Yes.
And we'll have to have you back again and, just to kind of talk about women farther along in the journey? Like, how do you tackle those big, huge financial dreams that you have?
Wonderful. I would love that. I
Yeah.
would love that. Whenever you're ready, let me know.
Okay. Thank you so much. Make sure you share this with someone who needs it. And don't forget, if you're looking for community with other women where you can tap into your feminine energy, have healthy boundaries, work towards healthy relationships, and that includes relationships with money, food, your romantic relationships, make sure you look at the link in the show notes for the Boundaries to Bliss Society, where that's my inner circle community, where we enhance women 360 in all areas of their life. And you can find out more about it in the show notes. And until next time, be soft, be financially healthy, and stay feminine. I'm Dr. Nicole.